In February of 2024, Rocksteady Studios released a much anticipated follow-up to their Batman Arkham series, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and its reception was what an EA executive would describe as constructive.
That's a euphemism for not as positive.
I am one of the 12 people who couldn't wait to see how awful the game actually was, but almost instantly after the credits rolled on the game, like many people, I had decided to go back and play every single entry in the series to see how well each one holds up today. Join me over the course of 6 videos as I explore the Arkham series, the ups, the downs, the pros, the cons, and ask if these games are as good as everyone collectively remembers, or if they've aged as badly as Rocksteady's quality control.
You played yourselves. Welcome to Task Force X.
Before we get into the problems with this game, I think I should open this with the stuff that I enjoyed. Don't worry, it won't take long, but I wanted to be known that I enjoyed aspects of this game, because there are some parts of it that are enjoyable. Now, you also have to remember, it's been a little while since I played this game, and after playing Suicide Squad, Asylum, City, this is the game that made me have to take a break on the series before finishing it. On that, I cannot remember if the combat was different to City or Asylum. It may be identical. I do remember that there was a lot more button mashing, QTEs, and combat that felt a lot more floaty and not as precise as Asylum and City. I'm getting ahead of myself though. I'm talking right now about the stuff I enjoyed, which starts and ends with, drumroll please, the boss fights. Yes, the boss fights in this game are fairly good. They're different from the boss fights in all the other Arkham games, which makes this game stand out, because the fights have a level of spectacle to them that the quote-unquote proper games don't. I mean, I'm not a fan of how they use Deathstroke right out of the gate, but the Firefly fight is pretty epic, and both Bane fights were pretty engaging as far as combat goes. I also quite enjoyed Deadshot's boss fight, even if it was a little repetitive and annoying with the infinite enemies thing, and the mercenary side plot got dumped so quickly I questioned if it should have been removed in story edits. But then I remembered the rest of the story and realised they didn't look over the story at all. I would praise the Killer Croc fight right at the start as well, but it wasn't very good and also bugged out for me, which is a trend that followed me throughout the entire game. The only game so far that has had major bugs and glitches, which I think is telling. Not even Suicide Squad had that. Now that I've placated all 3 of the hardcore Arkham Origins fans, let's get into the meat of the game, because whew, what the fuck happened? I know Rocksteady doesn't make this game, and I will say it was Warner Bros. Montreal that did it. At the same time, Rocksteady as a studio set out a pretty easy to follow guideline of how to make an animation based superhero action game. I mean, it's the exact same character Insomniac put this format onto for Spider-Man, and it worked amazing. How did a separate studio manage to fumble it so badly with the character that started it? I have no idea. Anyway, the combat isn't awful, but it does at times feel like a beta version of the combat of Arkham Knight, and I wonder how much of Arkham Origins was put together as a holding game for Warner Brothers to cash in on, whilst Rocksteady was cooking Arkham Knight for just a little bit longer. Elements of both Knight and City are in Origins, and whilst it could be Rocksteady seeing what Montreal were doing and adding it in, I think it's more likely that Montreal was supporting development, but were then set onto making a solo game mid-production. Either way, there's an absence of that darkness within Origins. Everything's just a little bit brighter, a little more innocent, in a way it doesn't feel authentic to the universe Rocksteady built up. And I think it comes down to the story itself, and superhero media's obsession with origin stories. Origins, as you might be able to guess, is an origin story. Yet it's not Batman's, because he's already an established figure. The game opens up with Batman helping stop a prison breakout, normal Batman stuff, before finding out he's got a bounty on his head. It's a perfect setup, really. A Christmas Batman adventure where he's out trying not to get killed by the world's deadliest assassins. It's got that die-hard but Batman feeling to it. I was kind of looking forward, except then you remember that if this is supposed to be an origin story, and Batman has already gotten so infamous that he's a bounty on his head, whose origin story is it? About halfway through, it's revealed, to the applause of absolutely nobody, that it's the Joker, because, of course.
So do you have anything else to contribute? I didn't think so.
I'm so fucking dumb for thinking that there could be a good, interesting Batman story without the Joker. But what makes it worse is that it comes off the back of playing the best Batman Joker story in gaming. So the entire time I was playing this not Kevin Conroy Batman fighting this not Mark Hamill Joker in their origin story, I was just thinking how this feels almost tone deaf to the story that came before it. Let's say I don't think the actors are doing a bad job. This is not, but I'm not saying they're doing a good job. It's not their fault, is what I'm saying. It's the game's fault. This game shouldn't exist. I'm not sorry. In fact, let's fucking do this, because quite frankly, I've seen some bullshit critical re-examination of this crappy game because enough time has passed and people have vaguely forgotten the specifics. But as somebody who's played this game recently, let me tell you, this game sucks. No, really, it isn't very good. The story is a wasted patchwork mess of incoherent idiots all working idiotically to a vapid, hollow ending that does nothing but set up games you've already fucking played and enjoyed a lot more than this cinematic, buggy shadow of a game that actually have fucking messages to convey. I don't need to see how Batman and Joker started their bullshit fucking homoerotic rivalry, because I'm over the age of 10 and have seen that exact origin story 5 or 6 times already and done much better than some edgelord's Joker acting like Robert Downey Jr. where he plays a dude playing another dude. If I did want to see an origin of the Batman and Joker from Asylum and City, I certainly wouldn't waste my time playing this fucking game. Instead, I'd go watch the animated series from which the originals took inspiration, because at least then my time would actually be fucking respected. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of this game. I could go into story details, like how the police are shown as a corrupt force working against Gotham, or how Black Mask and the Falcons are supposed to represent the dying criminal class of Gotham that will be replaced by the Penguin and Joker, or how Bane and Firefly are continued representations of addiction and obsession, but why would I bother? The game didn't bother to dive deeper into these ideas. It brought them up in passing before moving on to the next part. It's like Solo, a Star Wars story, where we see all these references to things we know will be important later, and we just go, I know that, And the game barely bothers to expand on Penguin or Black Mask, or even the fucking mercenaries that were supposed to be a major part of the story, because it just goes, Joker, I'm Joker now. I'm going to have my Joker's revenge on this fucking video game by rating it below Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Quite frankly, this game has already taken up too much of my life. It's bad. If you're watching these thinking of playing them, or just watching them to get my perspective on a critical look, then that's my final word. It's bad. There's some nice spectacle, but the game itself is an embarrassment to the entire franchise. Don't play this one. Seriously. You can skip it. It adds nothing of value to the franchise as a whole, and only detracts from the experience.
The Joker? Never heard of him.
Is this done then? Yeah. Okay, good. Let's wrap the Arkham trilogy up with Rocksteady's last Arkham game before Suicide Squad, and try to forget this game ever happened in the first place. Yeah.